Editor Chris here. It's late at night and I was about to get this episode set up to post, and then when I was putting in the keywords, I realized we were pronouncing the creature's name wrong the entire time. So we say Snarlygaster throughout a lot of this. It is technically Snallygaster. We're very sorry, Maryland. We didn't know, or at least I didn't know. Hewitt was the one that brought this up. I've never heard of it before this, so I'm blaming him. Also, he's not here to defend himself, so it's his fault. Anyway, we do get into some history of racism with regard to this creature. It doesn't get too gratuitous, though, do not worry. And with that, I hope you can enjoy the episode.
Welcome y'all to Backwoods Obscura, a podcast dedicated to the lore, legends, and myths surrounding the creatures that may lurk in your backyard. My name's Hewitt.
I'm Chris. How you doing?
You know what? Been a busy Sunday. Like you currently, none of our gentle listeners at home will see this, but we are underneath the setup for the TBA Live game I'll be running here in a couple hours that may get us in trouble.
We don't
get enough views to get in trouble.
It's like we don't get shit for views. If you want to give Team Bonus Action some views, that'll be cool. We are trying our very best to try and ramp up our quality. Like our newest setup has I listened to some of the stuff that M did, like her game. That's some of the best audio we've had.
Yeah. Also some of the best DMing we've had.
Yeah.
I have to remind her that she's good at it.
That was really fun. But yeah, we're sitting under that. I don't think we're going to get in trouble, but yeah, we're going to be doing that. You had like a fun time with your kids.
Yeah. One of them's been to the doctor and the other one, I might have to get a stool softener for. I'm the father of a 10-year-old and a year-and-a-half-old one. My life is, there is no shame. There is nothing that is off topic or off limit for the most part with me because, one of them. You have
to take care of your kid, and taking care of your kid means having to do all the gross things.
I mean, it's like the littlest one now knows how to take off her diaper, so
that's cool.
She will completely streak through the house at some point, and the problem is her plumbing don't work.
Yeah, I mean,
that happens. The other one, hey, Dad, am I supposed to have this here? What? And he comes in and there's just a massive pimple right above his butt crack on his back. And I'm like, how'd you get to there? I don't know, but is it supposed to be there? Is it a bug bite? No, son, that's a zit. Let me put a sticker on it.
It probably hurts too.
Hey, look, he's like, can't you just pop it? I'm like, I'm not popping your butt zit. I love you, but I'm not popping your butt zit.
I don't like that combination of words.
I don't either. I also didn't like it being shown. Like, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have my skin, which luckily, over the last couple years, anything in the face has not been that bad. It's just like migrated to like the neck and shoulder area.
Yeah.
Just the spots where I get sweaty.
Yeah. I mean, that's my problem too. Like, I can sit there and try and like clean my skin and do everything right, moisturize, and then near the armpits or like right like
under the man boobage.
It's like you get like little red spots and everything. I'm like, fucking damn it.
Well, the thing I've also learned is there's blackheads, there's whiteheads, and then there's something called sedaceous filaments or something filaments. And a lot of people, like when they do those like wax masks, it's like, oh, look how many blackheads I got. Most of it are those filaments because your pores are supposed to actually be full of oil. So it's like when anybody does like the TikTok or the Vine, or Vine's gone. I don't know why I said that.
Or they have like all the...
And it's like they got all the little tiny holes in their nose after they peel the mask. That's because it's actually not just pulling out the bad oil for like blackheads. It's pulling out...
the good oil.
All the oil, which they're going to close back up. They're going to fill back up and it's normal. But like... you aren't actually supposed to do those type of skin treatments
right
too much because then you lead it to like bad infections because now you just have like
Yeah,
a hole in your face.
It sounds like you're opening a lot of stuff up, so like bad stuff can get in there.
Like as long as you, like I said, as long as you don't do it too much, you're fine. But
problem is a lot of people like overdo their skincare routine in a way that is unhealthy.
But do you want to know about something that probably could have benefited from a skincare routine?
Yeah, sure.
It's called the Snallygaster.
The Snarligaster. I think you've mentioned this before.
I did accidentally call the Hodeg
the
Snarlygaster. I almost called the Galrow a Snarlygaster because they're kind of similar creatures. Now, first off, the Snarlygaster is a massive mixture of a bird and a reptile.
Cool. I like that.
May or may not be a dragon or a demon, depending on who you talk to.
What about a dinosaur?
No one called it a dinosaur. Some thought it was a hobgoblin. Some thought it was a ghost.
Because it's just running the gamut of different.
Hobgoblins are shapeshifters.
So it's sitting there like, oh, look at me. I'm the Snarligaster. I sound like a Fender product from the 50s.
Wow, wow. But it's both scaled and feather with large wings. It has a large, sharp, curved beak that may or may not be made out of metal.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It has large hooked teeth within the beak.
You know what? You didn't say it was, and it could be a Pokemon.
Could be a Pokemon. Behind the metal sharp beak and rows of shark-like teeth is also a massive tentacle-like tongue that either might be one long tentacle or a mouth full of grasping tentacles that pull you into this buzzsaw, jaws of life face this creature has.
Lord.
Yeah, like, everything about this is just screaming Cthulhu to me, and I don't like it.
It does sound like a Cthulhu mythos, sort of.
This is what happens
like a Lovecraftian horror.
This is Lovecraft fried chicken right here.
It's like a Lovecraftian Pokemon that has like a Fender. It's like Fender Snarligaster.
Now it has long red glowing talons that when it claws into you burn like heated iron. Possibly a roiling mass of tentacles or tendrils underneath its wings. So like basically the worst armpit hair. Varying amounts of glowing red eyes, however, it's usually listed as having one central massive red eye that stares directly into your soul.
So it does like a Alucard thing.
A little bit, but this is what I wrote down. Seems like a giant Cthulhu danger chicken.
Giant Cthulhu danger. I mean,
right? It's because it's not small. It's like bigger than an emu, and the emu is the danger chicken. Just like the cassowary. Oh, also in some stories it breathes fire.
Okay, this guy just has everything.
May or may not be a blood drinking vampire.
Everything, just taking up all the stuff.
It likes to swoop on sheep, small cattle, dogs, children.
Oh, so it's a fucking what is that? Chupacabra.
A little bit. Swoops on sheep, small cattle, dogs, and children, and small men.
Leave our short kings alone, Snarligaster.
It seems to prefer bad children in several stories, as they are said to be more flavorful.
Bagman, Sackabilly.
A little bit here. Now, most claims say that it resides somewhere in Washington or Frederick County, Maryland. Some stories have it living in the hollers and valleys of the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay.
It also possesses a yell or a growl that freezes the heart and can kill you. Well, it'll definitely leave you deaf. Or maybe a headache.
So he can do like a sonic boom.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's just loud as fuck. Like every story I read, like it started like he screamed and like a dude immediately had a heart attack and died. I'm like, cool. And then it's like, okay, really, the guy didn't have a heart attack. He just like he couldn't hear for a while. Like he panicked and like just hid and like was frozen in fear. I'm like, if like a 8 foot to 15 foot flying.
Yeah,
Cthulhu danger chicken came by and yelled at me. It's just one of those that like the stories like it started out like with the really big one first, like it killed a dude just yelling at him, Then eventually it's got like everybody's deafened by it. Okay, it's loud as fuck and you can hear it for miles. Like that's like the last story. I'm going, man, like if I had read these in the opposite direction, it would have been cooler. But like,
I'm just like thinking this creature's doing like thunderclap on people.
it is. So let's break this down. It is a 8 to 15 foot avian reptile with one red eye, a metallic beak full of shark teeth and tentacles that can breathe fire. It has heated metal claws.
This is all okay. This is getting out of like the Cthulhu mythos.
This is a Final Fantasy boss fight.
It could be a Final Fantasy boss fight. I was gonna say it was like a middle schooler's idea of like a really cool D&D boss. Like, you know, you're like 12 or 13, you're first time DMing, and then you're like, yeah, people are gonna really. What's a Tarrasque? It's nothing. It's nothing compared to my Snarlygaster. Even kind of has like a middle school-esque. Like,
yeah, I was going to say this seems more like, remember back in the day when people did RP forums and there was no ruler system? So it's like, just like their version of Goku.
Yeah, that's the Snarlygaster.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't fight me. I breathe fire, and also I have tentacles and shark teeth.
The fuck, bro? So here's some history. The earliest reports of the Snarlygaster come from the 1730s in the rural areas of Maryland, where a lot of German immigrants settled. And they reported seeing a large creature that would kill livestock and supposedly swing down on smaller individuals. Now, the name Snarlygaster also comes from Snallygaster, which means quick ghost.
Oh, that's a cool name.
So, yeah. And the original description is this was a dragon-like creature that stole sheep and had a siren-like song to lull people into not being able to catch it, because it would shriek or scream, terrify people,
thunderclap,
and then swoop down, run off with a sheep or a small cow, and you're left going, "What the fuck?" And it's like, that was the Snarlygaster.
No,
they would have said that. Well, they would have said the Snallygaster.
The Snallygaster, it was out over here, and then it took one of my sheep. I was gonna use that one for gyros.
Now, the way they started warding it off is apparently, like many supernatural creatures, the Snarlygaster has an opposition to geometric shapes.
Cool.
So they painted a 7-pointed star on barns and on buildings to ward the creature off. And if you go through parts of rural Maryland, you will still see barns and houses that have these 7-pointed stars painted on them, because
it doesn't like geometry.
Doesn't like geometry, but it's also that the people kind of incorporated it into their local culture. That's
pretty cool. I like stuff like that.
Now, the legend started in Frederick County and then spread through the rest of Maryland and several surrounding states. The legend started to die off about the superstition in the early 1800s, but then racism occurred.
Of course.
And the legend was brought back in the late 1800s to scare newly emancipated freemen in Maryland. So, like, everything about this creature is great, except for, like, there's, like, three to 4 decades
where they are just, like scaring black people.
They grabbed it, and I'm going to get to that. Now, the story popped back up in 1909 in a very big way. Now, here's the deal, though. It popped up when another cryptid popped up again that hadn't been seen for a while.
Jersey Devil?
Jersey Devil.
How did I know that?
I don't know. Did you look at my screen?
No, I was thinking in the area, Maryland,
New Jersey's not too far. So, footprints for the Jersey Devil were found in the snow outside of several people's houses in 1909 in the winter. So stories in New Jersey started, like the Jersey Devil. I saw the Jersey Devil. My grandma fought the Jersey Devil. The Jersey Devil tried to take her bread pudding, and grandma said no. Like, stuff like that started popping up. So, with the stories going around, the Valley Register published a story about a man named Bill Gifferson. Now, Bill Gifferson was a small man, sheep farmer, all around decent dude. Now, he was walking home from the tavern one night.
Okay, so small man as in short king.
Would say probably compared to either us short, but like he was spare. Maybe spare is a better word. Like he was...
Oh, he was like lithe?
He was not a tall man, and he was definitely not...
Built.
He was a small, skinny dude. Like, think Steve Rogers before the super soldier serum.
Okay.
Anyway, he was coming home from the tavern or the bar, and he was walking home, a little inebriated, when he got snatched up by the beast.
Oh, no.
It then slit his throat with its talon.
Oh, jeez.
And shoved its tendrils into his neck and drank up all of his blood.
Well, that's not nice.
No. It's also like some very body horror 1980s style shit right there for me.
It's like I gotta open up those arteries so I can put my tendrils in there.
And to look at the notes that I wrote, because I will not lie, it had been a long day and I'd had a couple beers while I did the research. It dropped his drained body like an empty Kool-Aid jammer in a ravine half a mile away.
That's me.
They said it drained him of all of his blood and left him a withered, hollowed husk. And all I could see is a Kool-Aid jammer left on the ground.
Like, what flavor was he? Like cherry?
Knowing him, it was probably cool blue raspberry.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'll give him that. I don't want to make Mr. Gifferson seem like a bad man. I know nothing about him other than he got killed by a giant danger chicken that's a vampire.
That sucks your blood with tendrils in your arteries. I wonder, since it was like, the the early 1900s, if the thing was like, damn, this guy has a lot of fucking like build up, a lot of cholesterol in here.
It's like, oh fuck, dude! It's like this dude just did nothing but eat Paula Deen cooking. It's like, I don't want blood butter. Look at this squeeze.
Oh, God.
comes out like Homer's blood in that one episode of The Simpsons. Consistent with sea of thick gravy.
Well, at least I got to him before he, had the stroke.
It's really, it was a humanitarian thing that I did when the Snallygaster goes to court.
The Snallygaster sitting there just like trying to rationalize his like eating habits. Like
that goes. I mean, I got diabetes after I drank from him, so like, who's the real villain in this story? It's still you, Snallygaster. Now, between February and July of 1909, newspapers in Maryland started publishing stories and sightings of the Snallygaster daily or weekly, depending on the publication. So like the Valley Register kept publishing stories, but then all these other ones started publishing stories. Like there were sightings and attacks that were all over the state. One man claimed that he watched it drink a whole 100-gallon tank of water, like just gurgled it up.
Oh wow!
And then another version that was like the original version, like he watched it drink a cattle tank, and then another one is that it looked at him and then said, that might have quenched my thirst because I have not drank since I was killed at Chickamauga. And then it flew off. So, like, maybe it's a fucking Civil War ghost that turned into a danger chicken, but we're gonna get back to this. Stick a pin in the I got killed at Chickamauga and I ain't had a drink since.
It's like, that's a weird thing to say, Mr. Snarlgaster.
3 men battled the beast near Emmitsburg, Maryland, but had to flee and did not stop running until they were 1.5 counties over. Now, to be fair, you know when going to Lafayette, you pass through like 3 parishes in like a quarter of a mile.
Yeah, and Maryland's a lot smaller than us, right?
Yeah. Driving to
they're more dense though.
Like driving to Gettysburg, like we went through West Virginia, and then it was like High Maryland, and then it was Pennsylvania. Like that was literally the whole shebang.
How many people live in Maryland?
More than Louisiana.
Which is crazy, so it means it's...
Now, the story became so widespread that apparently former President Theodore Roosevelt nearly canceled his safari to Africa to personally hunt the creature to save America from its terror.
6 million people live in Maryland.
2 million more than Louisiana.
That's crazy.
And we're slightly... I think geographically, it's more than fairly. We're a decent bit bigger in Louisiana than Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
Geographically.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, apparently Theodore Roosevelt was going to cancel his safari in 1909 to personally go hunt the Snarlygaster.
Of course he would do that.
The Smithsonian put a bounty out on the creature, either alive or dead, so they could study a specimen of it. And then we get to a very uncomfortable moment.
Oh, yeah, the racism.
No, George C. Roderick and reporter Ralph S. Wolfe, that both worked for the Valley Register, eventually admitted after months of stories that they had made everything up to increase the membership and play off of the Jersey Devil popularity.
Okay.
So the two writers came out and said 100% this is fake, but it's the South. Of course, the government told them they had to say it was fake. So, in 1932, the Valley Register ran another story of a man from Ohio who saw the creature flying over and yelled loud enough to hurt his ears and make him relieve himself.
Oh, that's how we're putting it. Okay.
The Morning Herald then ran stories that the Snarlygaster had been killed when it got stuck in a 2,500 gallon vat of moonshine. Like, it dove down and got stuck in the moonshine. It was dynamited to death by U.S. federal agents that found the still due to the creature's noise and dive bombing it. Like, so here's these two agents that are trying to shut down moonshine during the Great Depression.
And then they find the Snarlygaster.
And they hear this. They see this thing dive down, and they hear it yelling, and so then they go find a 2,500 gallon vat of moonshine in the woods.
That's a lot of moonshine in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just exploded.
And then they exploded it with dynamite.
Okay.
So I'm believing this is, what was his name? The Magnificent Mortimer and Ashcan Pete. When confronted with Eldritch Horrors, dynamite.
Just dynamite it. We're gonna throw some dynamite at
it. Now, several stories that came out at the same time stated it laid beer barrel-sized eggs.
I thought you were gonna say shit.
It lays beer barrel-sized eggs that had a soft, leathery texture.
So it's like a snake egg.
Like a snake egg or a turtle egg. Stories started the trail off in the 1940s. And the second wave, these 1930s to 1940 stories, they never took off like the original run in 1909. So people heard about it, they talked about it, and people still talk about the Snarlygaster in the area. But they never took off the same way, because, let's be honest, by the 1930s, 1940s, people have moved from weird Appalachian cryptids to theosophy and other racist esoteric spiritualism.
Yeah, those white people love their esoteric
spiritualism. Yeah, we talked about theosophy in a previous episode. Yeah. Done a little bit more research on this. Glad I didn't go into more detail about it, but theosophy is hella fucking racist.
You know, I'm not surprised.
Like the number of Nazi theosophists.
Like, that's the wildest thing. It's like when you look at all the shit that Nazis did, like how obsessed with the occult they were.
They simped so hard for outer gods.
Like, it doesn't repeat, but it rhymes in terms of history. You're seeing all the shit now. But yeah, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Now, the Snarlygaster, like I said, stayed a beloved local cryptid. Now, let me get to the earlier thing where in the late 1800s, it was used to scare the newly emancipated freemen, and the comment about the Battle of Chickamauga.
Yeah.
That is a standard tactic of the Ku Klux Klan.
Just make a Civil War ghost.
Well, they would show up. The reason they dressed the way they dressed is they dressed like ghosts.
Yeah.
And they would ride up on people's houses, and they would ask for water. And so, like, the freemen that lived on that farm or the sympathizers with the Union that lived on that farm would then come out and give the one of the 6 to 16 ghosts in their front yard a bucket, and then they would act like they were drinking it. It would just pour straight out the bottom. And they go, "I hadn't drank since I died at Shiloh, thank you." And then they'd ride off. So, like, the initial tactics before they started, like, burning shit and burning down your house. They burn crosses in your yard like a T for time to get out, like that South Park episode. But no, the big thing is like, they set your fucking house on fire. They set your fields on fire. They would set,
like, all black churches on fire.
Yeah.
Baby. Moving on.
She's hitting the door. Oh no! She's hitting the baby gate.
Yeah.
Future Chris,
I'm sorry.
Your niece is being annoying, but so no, like the whole concept of them saying, "I haven't drank since this Civil War battle," adds into them trying to use the Snarlygaster as a way to scare people.
Right.
So that's the unpleasantness there. And I almost feel like we could treat the goddamn clan as its own cryptid, but that would be an episode with such a warning.
I mean, that's also giving the clan too much credit. Like, they tried to be spooky and everything, but they're usually just a bunch of rednecks and racists.
All I can think of is that scene from Django Unchained when they're arguing about the goddamn mask.
Gosh, such a good movie.
It is. Oh, shit. I tore a hole all the way through.
Oh, damn.
Like, the only dude to not... Like, I love the follow-up scene where they all get blown up because the tooth is full of dynamite. I love that scene, blowing up the clan. Like, I think I've said this in 4 or 5 different podcasts now. One of my favorite scenes in all of Hollywood is...
Yeah, blowing up
the clan. Now,
I mean, I think we've talked about Django for like 3 episodes now. But anyway.
We just need to watch. Now, the other thing about the Snarlygaster is it has an arch nemesis and rival.
Oh, so it's like Battle of the Ages here.
Yeah. So this is actually a little bit of a twofer, but there's not a lot of information on the Dwayo. Dwayyo. Dwayo. Now, the Dwayo is a Maryland Wolfman, werewolf, or Hexenwolf.
Okay, so
Spelled
it's like
with a U.
It's like a small-time Rougarou.
Similar. Do you know what a Hexenwolf is?
No.
Okay, so like a werewolf, you get bit by a werewolf and you transform through lycanthropy, or you sell your soul to the devil.
Right, right.
Hexenwolf is you make a deal with something, and it either gives you a fur belt or it gives you a ring. And when you place it upon yourself, then you transform. So there are so many different types of werewolves that it gets ridiculous. Also, there's also the Hexen goat, which I need to do more research on, because weregoat, the only thing that would top it is weregoose.
That would be really scary.
Think about because we all know Werewolf the Apocalypse,
right?
Like the white wolf, like 6 to 8 foot tall humanoid bipedal wolf man thing. Imagine that as a goose. That's way worse. So much worse.
Honk honk bites.
It has range.
Yeah, and I don't know. Okay, listeners at home, look up goose teeth. It's not.
It's terrible. Same thing with their tongue. Now, the creature is a over 6 foot tall, lupin-esque humanoid with dark fur.
But is it the third?
Now, it has hands like a human, or in some cases, it still has wolf paws, but they are oversized and agile. So, they could open a door, they could pick something up, but they don't really have, a thumb. Like, if you gave them a gun...
So they just have big, cute paws.
Yeah. Either they have big paws, or they do have human-esque hands. Now, the first time the Dwayo was seen was in 1944 near Fredericks, Maryland. And it has repeated sightings similar to that of a Bigfoot or any other wolfman, dogman, anything like that. And it was seen through the 70s. So, and like I said, again, it's everything. I did not put down any of the sightings because I was in the woods. Then the Dwayo was in the bottom of the tree.
It's like going through Bigfoot or Falcon Monster sightings where it's I was fishing and then I saw something walking across the creek and it was big and brown.
Yeah, it's one of those I literally cannot differentiate between there's different names of different people who saw it, but it's almost the exact same story. I was out hunting and it was at the edge of my sight, or I saw it grabbing something out of the water. I saw it kill a deer, that kind of thing.
Yeah, things like that.
It stared at me and it ran off.
Or it was behind me and then I ran or something like that.
Now, I might go back and actually do some more research on the Dwayo, and maybe also mention the Beast of Bray Road, kind of do a Dogman episode. But that's for another day. Also, I don't really consider a lot of the Dogman sightings to be that obscure.
Yeah.
Now, however, in 1977, the Snarlygaster and the Dwayo must have put their enemy hats to the side and had a very, very dangerous, probably somebody's kink love affair.
Oh.
Because someone saw near Sykesville a winged, one-eyed, doggish, birdish, lizardous creature that killed a cow and then took off.
So, here's the question. Did they do the deed? Did they have the sex? Or did they Voltron? That's the real question.
That's true. I also don't want to think about this version of a cryptid turducken.
Turducken.
Now,
Cryptid.
Now, modern day, there is a museum in Frederick County in Liberty Town, Maryland, dedicated to the Snarlygaster. There's a beard, food, and music festival in D.C. that is dedicated to the Snarlygaster. It's called Snarlygaster. I looked it up. We don't have money to go there.
Is it that expensive?
Starting ticket $250.
Okay.
But but the thing is you get 6 packs of every beer that is there. You get frontline, like you could probably buy like a day ticket, but they weren't selling day tickets on the website. So it's like you could get like Leviathan class or Behemoth class, and it's like you could also go talk to the bands, like you get backstage.
I mean, okay, that's cool. So you get a lot of stuff.
It's like a big package, and it's connected to the hotel, but it's still like $200.
Yeah, that's still a lot of money, plus driving or riding or flying up to Maryland.
16 hours to D.C. Also, I don't want to go there. Now, it appears in Harry Potter.
I like that. I don't want to go there.
It appears in Harry Potter, and it appears in Fallout 76, but it does not look anything like its description in Fallout 76.
Makes sense. The Mothman, I think, in 76 is just a giant moth.
It has a blended whiskey named after it that is made in Fredericks, Maryland. Southern Mountain Creamery has an ice cream named after it that is peanut butter flavored ice cream with caramel swirls, peanut butter cups, and pretzels in it. I would fuck up some Snarlygaster ice cream.
That sounds pretty good, yeah.
And has appeared in numerous books, children's stories, lore books, monster books, as well as other video games. And it mentioned this, but I could not find it looking through online. It apparently appears in one of the Pathfinder 1E's many bestiaries.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Pathfinder is kind of known for like pulling from like...
Well, I mean, I've mentioned the Hodeg and I can't remember the city now, but the monster that was like the giant floating red eye.
Yeah. Also, yeah.
Yeah, they both have appeared in Pathfinder. Now, my sources, I did use Wikipedia to start off to help me locate some information.
Okay, look, I'm just going to say this now. I don't mind, like, Wikipedia is almost always the first place we start.
Well, I mean,
it's the first place anyone should start.
I will say this. I did not use Wikipedia for the information itself. I used it to scroll to the bottom to all the source links.
Okay.
Now, if other people want to use it, that's perfectly fine, because this is not actually an academic study. This is just us talking about weird stuff. Now, I also went to Atlas Obscura, legendsofamerica.com, the Snarlygaster, fairytalesandmyths.com, Snarlygaster, NorthAmericanCryptids.com, Snarlygaster, SnarlygasterMuseum.com, and cryptids.fandom.com, Snarlygaster, which is like no better than going to Wikipedia, because it's an editable fan base. So, that's a Snarlygaster. I'm going to say, in the hearts of the people of Maryland, it's real.
Yeah. You know, we're doing the cop-out thing. It's like, you know, if they want to believe in it.
If they believe in it, therefore it's real.
Yeah.
It also has a festival named after it. That's kind of real. Is there a giant Cthulhu danger chicken?
Probably.
No.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
What? It comes to the door, and what it thinks it's saying is like, "Excuse me, you slandered me on your podcast." But what's actually being said, what we hear, just like mawing tentacles and shit, and we're like,
"Kafrale, yeah, y'all."
It's like, oh no. Anyway, we are Backwoods Obscura. We release every Tuesday. Someday we'll be good at like social media, but we're also Team Bonus Action.
Team Bonus Action is a group of nerdy friends who like to stream video games, tabletop, and online RPGs, as well as board games. And maybe sometime in the future, the folks that are going to be playing Magic the Gathering will actually stream it. Glaring at you.
I'm waiting for that Final Fantasy to come out.
Oh, anyway, so yeah, currently we are not partnered with anybody, but if you can donate to the Trevor Project or St. Jude, or the NCLU. We would greatly appreciate it. You can find their information online quite easily.
And yeah, with that, I hope you have a good day or night or whatever time it is over there.
You know, I bet this would actually be good deep fried.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, it's calamari, alligator, and chicken.
Yay.